Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of colors and remain standing for the playing of our national anthem and invocation. Color Guard, parade the colors. Color Guard, retire the colors. Chaplain Girolamo, Commander, United States Navy, will now deliver the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, you are the giver of every good gift. Coming down from you, the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. We thank you for the privilege of celebrating the commencement of these men and women today as they graduate from the Naval Postgraduate School. Thank you for the way you have sustained them over the course of their rigorous study, the multiplicity of methods you have employed to impart knowledge, as well as the mentorship opportunities given to them through their faculty and advisors. For some, their time here at NPS has been challenging, personally and or professionally. For others, this has been a welcome break from a demanding up-tempo. However, by your grace, they are here, ready to enjoy the fruit of their labors. So now, as they prepare to receive their rightful diplomas and take on what lies ahead in their new jobs, whether in CONUS or abroad, I ask that you would graciously bless them and keep them. As you strengthen them for the challenges here, give them confidence that you will do the same in the days ahead. For those of us who remain and carry on the work here at NPS, give us grace to follow the example they have set by continuing to pursue excellence in every endeavor. As we honor them and their milestone today, may you be honored and glorified for every good gift bestowed upon your children. We pray this in your name. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Naval Postgraduate School's Winter Quarter graduation. The men and women today sharing the stage with President Rout and Provost Lehrman are the deans of our various schools, distinguished professors, U.S. and foreign government officials, and our local area military leadership. They have all been deeply involved in the education of today's graduates. I am honored to introduce our President, Vice Admiral Ronald Rout, United States Navy, retired.
Thank you. Good morning, and welcome to the school about which the Secretary of the Navy recently tweeted. He said, "I am proud to announce that NPS Monterey has been ranked as the #1 graduate school for Homeland and National Security and Emergency Management by U.S. News and World Report. That's #1 above Harvard was #2, Columbia was #6, and the Secretary goes on to say, and NPS continues to be a center of excellence for all of DoD and our country." He followed that up with an email to me yesterday, the subject of which was Bravo Zulu. So for those of you in the Navy know, that's the flag hoist you put up when you're telling everybody, well done. So that indicates to me that our Secretary of the Navy is coming on board really well. And we appreciate his singling us out. That's great. Our recognition in these rankings reflects the commitment of our entire faculty and our students, commitment to excellence and real-world relevance in both our teaching and our research. This is the true hallmark of an NPS education. Joining me on the stage today for our winter graduation is our guest speaker, Mr. Bob Woods, Acting Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Manpower and Reserve Affairs, about whom we'll hear more in a moment. In addition, in the audience today, we are honored to welcome Mr. Bill Camp, Mayor of Pacific Grove. Also in the audience today is Rear Admiral Veran, who is from the Peruvian Navy, who was the Director of Education for the Peruvian Navy, who is here with his son, who is graduating today. So let's welcome our distinguished guests, please. I would also like to recognize and thank our Naval Postgraduate School Foundation for their continued support of our institution in providing us with a margin of excellence that is so important to our success and our students' experiences here. Some of the foundation members are joining us in the audience today, and we're glad you're here. Finally, thank you to Captain Goodmanson and everyone on the Dean of Students staff who worked so hard to put this event together. And a special thanks to our volunteer musicians in the Del Monte Brass. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished guests and thanking our event producers, our foundation, and our very own Del Monte Brass. Today, we gratefully acknowledge the faculty and staff whose dedication to each student has made this graduation possible. You truly are a world-class, amazing team. Your passion for teaching and commitment to this institution are greatly appreciated by everyone present, especially our graduates. And while we honor our graduates today and the faculty who helped get them to where they are, we must also recognize their family and friends. The importance of their love, support, and sacrifice cannot be overstated. Thank you for taking this time to be with us, especially those of you who have traveled some distance to be here. If I could ask the family members and friends to please stand up so we can thank you. All right. To our graduates, we are so proud of your success. We have immersed you in an extremely competitive academic environment that has enabled you to focus on the challenges that affect your service, our defense capabilities, and our national security. It is our commitment to you that your NPS education will provide you the foundation upon which the rest of your careers and lifelong learning are built. From today forward, our nation will count on you graduates as strategic influencers, problem solvers, and leaders wherever your career takes you. Influencers and leaders like NPS graduates Admiral Mike Mullen, Admiral Bill McRaven, Marine General Mike Hagee, and former Deputy Secretary of Defense Mr. Bob Work. Like them and thousands more of our graduates, we know that each of you can make a difference. You, as influencers and leaders, at every step along the way, in your wardrooms and ready rooms, in your units and staffs, and certainly in command. Everywhere you go, spread the word about NPS and your experience here. Counsel your junior officers to visit our website and to talk to their detailers and monitors. Tell them to get orders here. On a day like today, when you reflect on your accomplishments and look ahead towards an uncertain future in a changing and sometimes violent world, we are reminded of our call to service, your call to service. It is our hope and expectation that you will leave here prepared to serve and prepared to do something great. On behalf of all of us at NPS, congratulations. And now it's my distinct honor and privilege to introduce our guest speaker, Mr. Bob Woods, another great influencer and leader. In April 2017, Mr. Woods was selected by the Secretary of the Navy to serve as the Principal Deputy to the Assistant Secretary of the Navy, Manpower and Reserve Affairs. In the absence of a Senate-confirmed Assistant Secretary, Mr. Woods has been serving as the Acting Assistant Secretary. His responsibilities include oversight of Department of the Navy's Civilian Human Resources, Reserve Affairs, Total Force Integration, and Military Personnel Policy, including Navy and Marine Corps education and training. He is an avid supporter of NPS and has often had the opportunity to champion NPS initiatives and issues within the Department of the Navy, as well as with the Department of Defense and outside organizations. His visit to NPS has been a great opportunity for us to show him more about our school, our students, our faculty, and some of the research you do here. And we're grateful that he could speak here today at today's graduation ceremony. Prior to his selection to his present position, Secretary Woods served in various attorney positions within the Navy's Office of the General Counsel, and most recently, since 2009, as the Assistant General Counsel for Manpower and Reserve Affairs, as a member of the Senior Executive Service. Prior to joining the Office of General Counsel, Secretary Woods was a career judge advocate in the U.S. Air Force, serving tours as a staff judge advocate stateside and at the Royal Air Force Alconbury in the United Kingdom, as well as tours at Headquarters Air Force. He holds a Master of Arts degree from Pepperdine University and attended his Juris Doctorate and Master of Law and Letters through the Air Force Institute of Technology's Civilian Institution Program. He is also a graduate of the Air Force Squadron Officer School, Air Command and Staff College, and Air War College. Mr. Woods is the product of an Air Force family, growing up on Air Force bases in the Azores, Portugal, and in the United States. His father was a career NCO in the Armed Forces Radio and Television Service. You could say that Mr. Woods has been in the military his entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Bob Woods.
Thank you, Admiral Rout. You read it just like I wrote it. But I noticed that you left out the line that my mother provided, which is, he's also ruggedly handsome. Of course, my mother's in her 80s, suffering from macular degeneration and detached retinas and such, so I'm not exactly sure what she sees or why she said that, so in any event. Again, thank you so much for the kind words and for this opportunity, Provost Lerner, deans, faculty, distinguished guests, and graduates. Good morning, graduates. It is a great honor to be here with you today, and I kid you not. This is probably the highlight of my career, to be honest with you, to be able to do this. This is actually my first time as a commencement speaker, so please bear with me. Been pretty nervous about doing this and put a lot of thought into it, so hopefully you won't get too bored with what I have to say. But I do have one expectation that I think I share with most commencement speakers, which is it's fairly unlikely that you'll remember me or probably even the message that I deliver today much beyond the end of the ceremony. or at least the end of the week. But in any event, one thing I'm absolutely, without doubt, sure of is that you'll remember how you feel today for the rest of your life. And that is that you're rightly proud of your accomplishments here at the Naval Postgraduate School. So, before I go any further, congratulations, students and graduates. Awesome. Well done. And while Admiral Rout thanked your families and friends who are here today, I'd like to say congratulations to your family and friends who supported you throughout this journey. In fact, why don't we do this again? Why don't you turn around and thank your supporters for all the help they've given you while you've been through this program. There you go. After all, they made it possible for you to do this, so. I hope that you'll take some time to reflect on your experience here and savor your accomplishments. And, oh, by the way, please don't worry about the little ones. They'll break out every once in a while. They'll get a little fidgety. Probably no more fidgety than I get, but that's all right. That's really the sound of freedom, the sound of silence. Sometimes it revels the sound of freedom of an F-18 taking off because they're kind of loud, but that's okay. I love having them here. It just reminds me that this is all about family. So keep them here and don't worry about them. I'd also, see, there you go. See, I'm going to take their little bits of noise as cheers for me, so that's great. And again, don't feel like you have to leave with them. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. But I'd like, before I go much further, I'd also like you to join me in giving a huge round and a well-deserved round of applause for your world-class faculty and staff. Admiral Rout mentioned earlier about the Secretary's tweet and then his follow-on email, Bravo Zulu, for the world-class ranking that y'all received in U.S. News and World Report. But I would note that not only have you bested Harvard and Columbia in that particular area of exploration, but you're also well ranked in other national rankings for other parts of the school and the school in general. And the school has every right to be proud of their accomplishments, of the amazing faculty and staff that they have here. And graduates, you've really benefited from their breadth of knowledge and how much they care. They've invested very much in you and have a stake in your success. They're passionate about their subjects and your success. They know what you face in your careers. And all they want to do is make sure that you can get out there and do it. Bring it to the table and help us conquer the big things that we've got to deal with. You and they have added immensely to the body of knowledge specifically related to national security and science and technology that makes us a more effective country writ large, not just Department of Navy. And you're there to watch the challenges or help us face the challenges that face not only our department, our nation, but also our global partners. And speaking of our global partners, I'd also like to recognize and congratulate our international students. As I understand it, they make up somewhere just short of 10% of this graduating class and hail from, in alphabetical order, Australia, Azerbaijan, Brazil, El Salvador, Georgia, Germany, Korea, Latvia, Malaysia, Nepal, Peru, Romania, Singapore, and Slovenia. I sure hope I didn't miss any. Now, in addition to your access to this world-class faculty, you have, perhaps as importantly, had access to and profited from connections to the diverse cultures and experiences of your classmates. It's this diversity at the Naval Postgraduate School that is truly a force multiplier. You represent all of DoD departments with active, reserve, and civilian personnel in attendance, other federal agencies, first responders, and allied military services. And I hope that you'll continue to nurture the relationships that you've made here and work hard to stay in touch with your classmates over the years to come. Remember, we are always stronger together. The incubator environment here at NPS has, since its inception in 1909, enhanced cooperation, diplomacy, and military-to-military relationships. And this strengthens our partnerships, both internal and external. I note that your leaders have invested heavily in your education and advancement, and we expect much from you in helping us tackle complex operational challenges such as terrorism, transnational crime, cybersecurity, conventional warfare, and nuclear proliferation, to name a few, as well as the complex challenges that we face every day in running this department, doing the business of this department, and your agencies and your military services. These challenges, of course, include such things as managing complex systems acquisition, tackling, taming, and harnessing big data, mastering supply chain management, and all with an eye toward auditability. By the way, get used to hearing that word a lot, auditability, because we're getting after it in a big way. Perhaps the most important challenge, though, I think, is leading and nurturing and advancing our people. So, since my portfolio is everything people, active, reserve, and civilian, Navy, and Marine Corps, I'd like to take a few minutes to focus on the importance of our people and your role as leaders, both thought leaders and operational leaders. Our Secretary of the Navy, Richard Spencer, has clearly articulated our priorities as follows, and I quote, "Our priorities center on people, capabilities, and processes, and will be achieved by our focus on speed, value, results, and partnerships," close quote. Please make no mistake, the Chief of Naval Operations, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, and the entire senior leadership team are fully committed to these priorities, and we ask that you be as well. So, in hearing those priorities, you have no doubt noted that people are listed as, and are in fact, our number one priority. Secretary Spencer has testified and unequivocally stated that, quote, "Our military and civilian workforce is our greatest resource," close quote. Now, this may seem like a soundbite, but I guarantee you that senior leaders are totally committed to this truth. People are our most important resource. We are committed and expect you to commit yourself to fostering a culture of mutual respect, accountability, and the highest ethical standards from top to bottom and back again. When I say respect, I mean respect for your and your folks' time, respect for your talent, your safety, and your differences. When I talk about accountability, I'm talking about you taking accountability for your own performance and behavior and those in your charge and around you, both on duty and off, every day, all day. The Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, has charged us all. We must play the ethical midfield. In other words, don't just avoid crossing the line, but stay well away from it. Be in the ethical midfield. So, with the stage set that people are our greatest resource, I'd like to spend the last few minutes of my talk focusing on you, the graduates. 35 years ago this May, I was where you are. Well, not exactly in these seats, but in Rutgers, in New Jersey. I was a young Air Force captain under the sponsorship of the Air Force-funded legal education program, attending my law school graduation at Rutgers in New Jersey. I distinctly remember how happy and proud I was and how great it was to be celebrating with my wife Denise and family and friends. I tell you, it seems like only yesterday. Now, granted, very early yesterday, but yesterday nonetheless. In the 35 years since, life hasn't always been fair, but it has always been good. We suffered some tragic losses, but with the help of my wife Denise, we found ways to become resilient. And in this day and age, you all need to work with your family and friends to learn to be resilient. It's really important. Those times made us stronger and far more open to the many, many joyous events and occasions that life would bring to us. We've been blessed. Especially the joy of raising our two sons, Kevin and Michael, and watching them grow into wonderfully mature and happy young adults. They are, no doubt, our greatest accomplishments. And so when I say I welcome the sounds of the young ones in the crowd, I mean it with all my heart. It's great to hear them. They're very important. They're our future, and you need to cherish them and take good care of them. Spend as much time as you can with each other. It's important. Now, life will throw you curveballs and fastballs and change-ups. Sometimes you'll swing and miss. Sometimes you'll hit them out of the park. Regardless of what life throws at you, keep your head up and stay in the game. It's totally worth the rewards, and I hope you'll be able to do that. And as my mom always used to quote to me from her grandmother, just remember this: from the day of your birth until you ride in the hearse, there's nothing so bad that couldn't be worse. Now, if you think about that for a few seconds, that could either be a really optimistic saying or a really pessimistic one. I choose to say that it's a very optimistic thing. Life is good. Get on with living it. It's a great thing. And it's a great day for this graduation. I was so happy to be able to bring this Washington, D.C. weather with me. I hope you enjoy it. It's like this every day in Washington. You need to come. It's awesome there. And we have beaches and surf just like this too. It's on the Potomac. It's fantastic. So ever since I joined the Senior Executive Service about 10 years ago, I've had many, many opportunities to meet with and speak to a lot of folks throughout the department. And invariably, when I open the floor for questions, I'm asked some variation of this question: what advice can you share to help me be a success, or usually it's more specific than that, to become a member of the Senior Executive Service or to become a flag or general officer? So, here goes, my thoughts on this subject. It's all about the people. It really is. Your success is not entirely in your hands or based solely on your own performance, but rather, your successes will often come from your efforts, no doubt, coupled with the efforts of others. Your family, your friends, your colleagues, those you supervise and lead, and those who are your supervisors and leaders. They all play a role in your success, and you need to spend the time and energy necessary to nurture those important relationships. It's all about relationships after all, okay? I've had a great many role models in my life, and one of them, on the work front at least, was my wing commander when I was stationed in England back in the 90s. He was a combat-tested fighter pilot, tough as nails, but with a big heart. He demanded the very best of us at all times and led by example. And he reminded us that life is good and short and challenged us to enjoy it. He challenged us to take advantage of the amazing opportunities we had by being stationed overseas. He told us that while he expected us to work hard, he also expected us to play. He said he recognized that we earned 30 days of leave a year, and he hoped and challenged us to actually use that and to travel as extensively as possible throughout Europe while we were there. And he set the example by doing so, doing the same. In fact, my family and I had the pleasure of going skiing with him and his family in the Alps in Germany. It was fantastic. And in those 3 years, we worked really hard, but we also took time to enjoy that assignment and to travel and share adventures with family and friends. And then I hope that you will do the same with the folks that you lead. Demand their best, give your best, and challenge them to enjoy their lives and explore their surroundings. And you do the same. You will all, in fact, we will all, be better for it. A subset of the question that I often get asked would include, what jobs should I take in order to be a success? And my advice is to, well, first, volunteer for the toughest jobs you can, but remember to grow where you're planted. I don't know where I first heard that saying, but I didn't make it up, but I think it's a great idea, and it's one I've tried to live by throughout my entire career. Grow where you're planted. Oftentimes, you may not have a lot of choice over the jobs that you get. So try not to worry about that so much, but rather focus on doing your best in each and every job. You'll be recognized for it, trust me, and that's going to be the mark of success. You'll be remembered as someone who always gave their best, and you'll be recognized for that. So stick with it and grow where you're planted. Now, you may well be the smartest person in the room or on the team, especially now that you've graduated from the Naval Postgraduate School. But be careful of that. Be collaborative, and be sure to give credit where credit is due, because those people around you are going to rise you to success, and so you need to take care of them. And as I said, give credit where credit is due. Say yes to opportunities, wherever they may present themselves. And don't let your fears and insecurities, and trust me, we all have them, everyone on this stage, me included, but don't let them stop you. Don't be afraid of failing. Just pick yourself up and get back in there. Remember, like I said before, life isn't always fair. But that doesn't mean that life isn't good. It truly is good. Build resilience. Find the goodness. Go out there and get yours. So before we part today, I'd like to ask you to keep in mind all of our teammates who are out there on point, forward deployed, guarding our safety, so that we can enjoy our freedom and the opportunities like those you've enjoyed here in Monterey. With that, I wish you Godspeed, and may you always have fair winds and following seas. Thank you.
I would now like to invite President Rout and Provost Lehrman forward for conferring of PhD candidates.
Will United States Navy Commander Chad Bowman, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Electrical Engineering, please cross the stage. The title of Commander Bowman's dissertation is Network Anomaly Detection Using the Stable Distributions. Commander Bowman's dissertation advisors are Professor Murali Tumala and Professor John McEachin from the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering. Commander Bowman developed novel methods for detecting network anomalies, such as cyber attacks that can disrupt computer communications. Commander Bowman investigated and demonstrated real-time methods that are more accurate than many current detection systems. His results should enable faster and more accurate identification and mitigation of cyber attacks, improving the reliability and security of our communications networks. President Rout, I present to you Commander Bowman. He has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty, and he is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will U.S. Navy Commander Kathleen Giles, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Systems Engineering, please cross the stage? The title of Commander Giles' dissertation is Mission-Based Architecture for Swarm Composability. Commander Giles' dissertation advisor is Professor Kristen Giamarco from the Department of Systems Engineering. Commander Giles developed a methodology to design swarms of unmanned aerial vehicles according to a top-down process, starting with the overall mission. Her work is a departure from the bottom-up swarm design methods that are currently in use. Her method improves on the state-of-the-art methods by incorporating doctrine, enhancing architectural reusability, and improving user accessibility. President Rout, I present to you Commander Giles. She has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will Ms. Andrea Boylan, U.S. Department of State, the candidate for the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Security Studies, please cross the stage? The title of Ms. Boylan's dissertation is Nuclear Proliferation in the Middle East in Pursuit of a Regional Logic. Ms. Boylan's dissertation advisor is Professor Clay Moltz from the Department of National Security Affairs. Ms. Boylan applied two theories of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East region. Contrary to predictions of mainstream theory, she found that proliferation decreased after the end of the Cold War. Her results highlight the critical role of the United States in the Middle East in driving this downward proliferation trend, and more recently, the importance of great powers working together to manage proliferation. President Rout, I present to you Ms. Boylan. She has completed all requirements prescribed by the faculty and is recommended for the degree Doctor of Philosophy.
By the authority vested in me, I confer upon you the degree Doctor of Philosophy, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the candidates for the degrees Master of Arts, Master of Science, Executive Master of Business Administration, and Master of Business Administration please stand?
President Rout, I present to you these candidates. After consideration of their academic accomplishments, the Academic Council will recommend them for the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, Executive Master of Business Administration, and Master of Business Administration as specified.
Upon the recommendation of the Academic Council, I will, by the authority vested in me, confer upon them the degree Master of Arts, Master of Science, Executive Master of Business Administration, and Master of Business Administration as specified, with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereunto pertaining.
Will the first row of candidates please proceed to the platform? Remaining candidates, please be seated. Of this quarter's total 250 graduating class, 47 have also earned their Command and Staff Diploma from the Joint Professional Military Education Program sponsored by the Naval War College. Master of Science in Applied Cyber Operations, Senior Chief Petty Officer George Bogovich, United States Navy. Chief Petty Officer Aaron Percival, United States Navy. Petty Officer First Class Perry Stewart, United States Navy. A Master of Science in Network Operations and Technology, the recipient of Network Operations and Technology Outstanding Graduate Award with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Clapper, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Joshua Dennis, United States Navy. Lieutenant Stevie Greenway, United States Navy Reserve. Lieutenant Christopher Henson, United States Navy Reserve. Lieutenant Paul Kim, United States Navy. Lieutenant Richard McCrae, United States Navy. Lieutenant Mark Roach, United States Navy. Lieutenant Coe Sipes, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Ryan Waddington, United States Navy. Master of Science in Electrical Engineering, Lieutenant Brannon Chapman, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Cody Wayne Cassee, United States Navy. The recipient of Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command Award in Electronic Systems Engineering, Lieutenant David Scott Rose, United States Navy. Graduating with distinction, Military Expert 5, Lim Chai Meng, Republic of Singapore, Navy. The recipient of the Naval Postgraduate School Outstanding Academic Achievement Award for International Studies, Mr. Wong Yi-chong, Singapore Defense Science Technology Agency. Master of Science in Engineering Science, Major Chu E. Kai, Republic of Singapore Air Force. Master of Science in Space Systems Engineering, Lieutenant Colonel Marcelo Correa de Souza, Brazilian Air Force. Master of Science in Mechanical Engineering with an outstanding SUSIS, Lieutenant Eric de Souza, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Tanya McKnight, United States Navy. The recipient of Naval Sea Systems Command Award in Naval Mechanical Engineering with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Matthew Wagner, United States Navy. Master of Business Administration, Supply Chain Management, Lieutenant Commander Javier Araujo, United States Navy. Master of Science in Management Manpower Systems Analysis with an outstanding thesis, Captain Jessica Arellano, United States Marine Corps. With an outstanding thesis, Captain William Dunst, United States Marine Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Eric Sandberg, United States Marine Corps. Major Charles Mayhawk, United States Marine Corps. Major Daniel Sanchez, United States Marine Corps. Colonel Alexander Eliashvili, Georgian Army. The recipient of the Graduate School of Business and Public Policy Faculty Outstanding International Student Award with an outstanding thesis, Major Luke Seawick, Australian Army. Lieutenant Veronica Baker, United States Navy. Lieutenant Joseph Balant, United States Navy. Lieutenant Andrew Boschert, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Commander Ryan Carmichael, United States Navy Reserve. Lieutenant Shanique Green, United States Navy. Lieutenant Lucas Groves, United States Navy. The recipient of the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Management and the Chief of Naval Personnel Award for Academic Excellence in Manpower, Personnel, and Training Analysis with distinction, Lieutenant Jessica Hall, United States Navy. Lieutenant William Huff, United States Navy. Commander Fabian Kustner, German Navy. Lieutenant Kai Joseph Lupo, United States Navy Reserve. The recipient of the Chief of Naval Personnel Award for Academic Excellence in Manpower Personnel and Training Analysis, graduating with distinction with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Eric Moss, United States Navy. Lieutenant Junior Grade Jessica Marie O'Connor, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Lincoln Schneider, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Brandy Stoudemeyer, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Brandon Wolf, United States Navy. Master of Science in Management Defense Systems Analysis, Captain Ryan Ackerman, United States Marine Corps. Captain Christopher Cavanaugh, United States Marine Corps. With an outstanding thesis, Captain Stephen George, United States Marine Corps. With an outstanding thesis, Captain Jason Harbison, United States Marine Corps. The recipient of the Marine Corps Association Superior Service Award for Outstanding U.S. Marine Student, Captain Brian Richmond, United States Marine Corps. Executive Master of Business Administration, Captain Matthew Hahn, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Van Howard, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Michael Martinko, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Franklin Muhammad, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Jay Park, United States Navy. Lieutenant Chad Peterson, United States Navy. Lieutenant Cassie Redner, United States Navy. The recipient of the Rear Admiral Thomas R. McClellan Award for Academic Excellence in the Graduate School of Business and Public Policy and the Lewis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Management, graduating with distinction, Lieutenant Commander Eric Smith, United States Navy. Lieutenant Mishana Sutton, United States Navy. Lieutenant Brandon Tomlin, United States Navy. Lieutenant David Williams, United States Navy. Mr. Jonathan Armstrong, Department of the Navy. Ms. Adrienne Canada, Department of the Navy. Mr. Johnny Chandler, Jr., Department of the Navy. Ms. Amanda Davis, Department of the Navy. Graduating with distinction, Mr. Michael Flavin, Department of the Navy. Ms. Stacy Gibson, Department of the Navy. Ms. Danny Hageman, Department of the Navy. Mr. Stephen Howell, Department of the Navy. Graduating with distinction, Mr. Thomas King II, Department of the Navy. The recipient of the Naval Postgraduate School Outstanding Academic Achievement Award for Department of Defense student and graduating with distinction, Mr. Donald Lesh, Department of the Navy. Mr. Christopher Messner, Department of the Navy. Mr. Christopher Purdy, Department of the Navy. Ms. Teresa Reynolds Overton, Department of the Navy. Ms. Frances Rosal, Department of the Navy. Mr. Donald Salee, Department of the Navy. Mr. Scott Thompson, Department of the Navy. Ms. Teresa Wonderly Villanueva, Department of the Navy. Mr. Peter Ward, Department of the Navy. Master of Science in Systems Engineering, Major James Joseph Pruden, United States Marine Corps. Lieutenant Scott Gordon Elwell, United States Navy. Mr. Alexander William Gray, Naval Air Systems Command. Mr. Michael Jaffe, Naval Air Systems Command. Mr. Matthew Rorden Malone, Naval Air Systems Command. Mr. Abu Sayed Mashfikuzzaman, Naval Air Systems Command. Mr. Alan James Bullard, Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division. Mr. Matthew Schumacher, Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division, Airborne Electronic Attack. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Middle East, South Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, Lieutenant Commander Christian Benzing, United States Navy. Lieutenant Jason Tucker, United States Navy. Major Craig Rasley, United States Air Force. Major Benjamin Thomas, United States Air Force. Major Tuan Tran, United States Air Force. Captain Jeremy Larson, United States Army. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Western Hemisphere, the recipient of the Louis D. Liskin Award for Excellence in Regional or Security Studies and graduating with distinction, Lieutenant Matthew Connors, United States Navy. Major Louis Calvo, United States Air Force. The recipient of the Outstanding United States Air Force Graduate Award, Department of National Security Affairs, and graduating with distinction, Major Christopher Cherry, United States Air Force. Major Brian Hamilton, United States Air Force. Major Brandon Rogers, United States Air Force. Major Gumercindo Santiago Rodriguez, United States Air Force. With an outstanding thesis, Captain Angel Cerna, United States Air Force. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Europe and Eurasia, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Meyer, United States Marine Corps. Graduating with distinction with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Daniel Justice, United States Navy. Lieutenant Chelsea McMahon, United States Navy. The recipient of the Air Force Association Award for Outstanding U.S. Air Force Student, Captain Masha Shiglov, United States Air Force. Captain Oyun Chimeg Young, United States Air Force. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Civil Military Relations, Lieutenant Colonel Fernando Menivar Mora, El Salvador Army. The recipient of the International Student Award for Excellence in Regional or Security Studies, Lieutenant Colonel Mahesh SJB Rana, Nepal Army. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Strategic Studies, Lieutenant Jeffrey Balistreri, United States Navy. Lieutenant Brayshawn Brown, United States Navy. With an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Joshua Overn, United States Navy. Mr. George Bashidza, Ministry of Defense of Georgia. Master of Arts in Security Studies, Homeland Security and Defense, Lieutenant Aaron Schmersall, United States Navy. Commander Brian Smiklis, United States Coast Guard. Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Waldman, California Air National Guard. Lieutenant Charles Cavnor, Dallas Fire Rescue Department. Mr. James Donahue, United States Secret Service. Mr. Andrew Fox, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Mr. Brian Gibson, United States Secret Service. Mrs. Susan Graves, Lincoln County School District, Newport, Oregon. Battalion Chief Kevin Harrison, New York City Fire Department. Mr. Thomas Hodge, Homeland Security Investigations. Mrs. Erica Hupka, University of Kansas Medical Center. Mrs. Linda Ju Shari, Transportation Security Administration. With an outstanding thesis, Ms. Samantha Corta, Wisconsin Department of Justice. Sergeant Amanda Kulikowski, Novi Police Department, Michigan. Ms. Samantha Laddick, Nevada Attorney General's Office. Ms. Marisha Madrigal, Multnomah County, Oregon. Ms. Terry March Safbaum, North Las Vegas Justice Court. The recipient of the Curtis H. Butch Straub Achievement Award and graduating with distinction, Mr. Cody Minks, St. Charles County Department of Public Health, Missouri. Ms. Robin Owen, Homeland Security Investigations. Assistant Chief Adam Pendley, Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, Florida. Ms. Marcia Raines, City of Millbrae, California. Investigator Gabe Rhodes, Seminole County Sheriff's Office, Florida. Ms. Jennifer Ricker, Illinois Emergency Management Agency. Mr. Andrew Schroeder, New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Ms. Stephanie Smiley, Wisconsin Department of Health Services. Mr. Eric Susi, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Mr. Richard Suttles, Jr., Transportation Security Administration. Mr. Michael Swangler, United States Secret Service. Ms. Kelly Weir, United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. Master of Science in Engineering Acoustics, graduating with distinction, Ms. Tan E. Ling, Singapore Defense Science and Technology Agency, Singapore. Lieutenant Junior Grade Gonzalo Hugo Veron Ley, Peru Navy. Master of Science in Operations Research with an outstanding thesis, Captain Chia Penelope C.N. Lin. Lieutenant Devon Jamar Gary Cobbs, United States Navy. Lieutenant Kimberly Cull, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Joseph Felix, United States Navy. the recipient of the Monterey Council Navy League Award for Highest Academic Achievement and the Surface Navy Association's Award for Excellence in Surface Warfare Research, graduating with distinction with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant Commander Christine Fletcher, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Stephen Manila, United States Navy. The recipient of the Military Operations Research Society Stephen A. Tisdale Graduate Research Award with an outstanding thesis, Lieutenant John Tanalega, United States Navy. Lieutenant Janet Von Eyff, United States Navy. Mr. Major Hwang Chae-sung, Korean Air Force. Lieutenant John Kipper, United States Navy. Lieutenant Solomon Liu, United States Navy. Master of Cost Estimating Analysis, Major Marcos Azua, United States Marine Corps. Ms. Alicia Curran, Johns Hopkins University Applied Physics Laboratory. Mr. Brett Newton, Space and Naval Warfare Systems Command. Mr. Troy Russell, Joint Staff, Virginia. Mr. Benjamin Isaac Tao, Air Force Life Cycle Management Center, Ohio. Master of Science in Computer Science, Mr. Chia Choon Hyong, Singapore, Ministry of Defense. Mr. Dylan Glasser, Scholarship for Service. Ms. Diana Hyun, Scholarship for Service. Please join me in giving all our graduates a well-deserved round of applause. Please stand. Chaplain Girolamo, Commander, United States Navy, will now give the benediction.
Let us pray. Our God of grace and glory, your reward of all who seek you by faith with the welcome words, well done, thou good and faithful servant. As we endeavor to pursue excellence in all our work, grant to us perseverance in the days ahead. By the light of your Son and the life of your Spirit, bless us now with renewed confidence and peace. Work in us and through us that which is pleasing in your sight. In your name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's graduation ceremony. On behalf of the President, Provost, and all of us at the Naval Postgraduate School, I'd like to once again thank you for being here today. We offer our sincere appreciation to the Naval Postgraduate School Color Guard and the Del Monte Brass. Please remain clear of the aisles until the platform party and faculty have departed. President Rout and Provost Lehrman cordially invite graduates, faculty, and guests to a reception in honor of the graduates in the Barbara McNitt Ballroom of Herman Hall immediately following the ceremony. Thank you.
No, sir. You want to leave your book here, or I can take it back with you? I usually take the provost and the presidents anyways. You want to leave it here? I'll take Thank you.